All right, now we're
Are we
live.
live
Hey,
now?
everybody.
Yeah. Can we pick on TJ?
You can officially pick on TJ because it is.
All right, because I like our virgin-esque boy who's like, say, wait a second. I got a life here. I'm not going to go chase after these broads and stand me up and things and stuff. I'm going to go start a bank in a little small town. Yeah. You
Grandpa,
are Jimmy Stewart.
Grandpa,
You
did you forget to take your pills again?
TJ Jimmy Stewart. You so much remind me of Jimmy Stewart. You
gotta
have
get the voice,
the soul of a good man.
Hey! If I got a girl like he got in It's a Wonderful Life, I won't complain.
Jake, what? Yeah. Oh, jeez, you want me to touch those things and play with them? My goodness, Jesus Christ!
What do I do with those?
I gotta go hiking with Reese right now. I can't do that dangerous, dirty stuff.
You've got to do some geek stuff. And speaking of which, everyone, welcome to the second Masculine Geek podcast. We are now live. Hello, everybody. And we're a little bit late. I think I'm going to do 9 o'clock. I've got too much shit to do before 8 o'clock is just too early. So I think you guys are okay with 9.
For me. Yep.
All right,
9
perfect.
o'clock works.
Excellent.
I'm a loser. I got nothing going on.
You've come to the right place.
I'm a loser. I'll just pick on TJ so no one knows it.
I found my people.
There you go. See? That's right. All right. Aaron, you had mentioned something in email, an interesting idea, and you called it Weekly Geekly. Can you explain what that is?
Well, no, it was truly on a whim.
Okay.
I'm out here in Vegas. My girlfriend's not here. I don't drink. I don't gamble. And then you really realize you're in a desert. And you're like, oh, wow, there really is nothing else here to do. So I go to the meetup groups. I'm like, and I did have some favorable experiences with some meetups with the gaming community. So there actually is a pretty good gaming community. So I saw this thing called Meepleville, like kind of Peopleville, but it's Meepleville because it's quaint and freaking cute.
Jesus.
And I say, oh, gaming. Oh, board game. So I grab my dice. I grab my D&D book, my character sheet, in case there's like, a 5th edition D&D game going on. And I go there and they're all in fucking pajamas. And
pajamas. Was it a sleepover?
It was damn near close. And
were they wearing like onesies or were there like girls in lingerie?
There was that. No, Rob, dude, I totally would. Oh, dude, I would have had a much more positive response.
We wouldn't be having this discussion if there would have been lingerie. You'd have been keeping that shit to yourself.
The D&D lingerie party.
Roll for a niche. Hey, you're a niche right here. But no, I walked in and people were in pajamas, and I was one of the older people, probably the oldest person. And I walked in, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is not gonna work." And I turned around and walked out. That was my. And then I played Borderlands 2 when I got back home. That was so. I wish I had more of a. I wish I could have been. Who was the gal that studied the gorillas and they got killed by one?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think she got killed by one.
It wasn't Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall? No. There was another one?
There was someone else like her, but I think I don't even think she was killed by the gorillas. I think she was killed by poachers.
Yeah, wasn't it a poacher?
Oh, that sucks.
I love it when leftists die that way. Like, spread the word. Oh, you got... I won't say it. You got killed by what you love so much. Like the bear guy. Remember the bear guy?
Oh, yeah.
Studied the bears and got killed by a bear. I'm like, who saw that coming?
Eventually, an animal is going to be an animal. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Wait a minute. I thought he got away with the salmon at the end of the commercial.
Well, anyway, I walked in. It was like Caesar. I came, I saw, I said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And no, it was sad. It spoke to what we talked about on our previous podcast is there may be some barriers. There may be some mucous membranes of penetration where you walk in and, you know, like you're a normal guy and you've had sex and you've seen a vagina and you're like, oh, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. And if this is your first experience, I'm just warning everybody out there who's, you know, bi-curious about the gaming world. And you're like, yeah, it sounds kind of cool. And I am. I'm like, hey, guys, it's a great game. It's a great, you know, gaming is great. But just prepare yourself, you know, gird your loins for the expectations that you like. And I should have read, because I went back and I read the meetup group details, like show up in PJs, like PJ Meeple. And I'm like, and I just saw like, oh, gaming, cool. Like, hey, these are my guys. I'm going to go. And I walk in and I'm like, they're all in fucking pajamas. I'm like, why do I want to kill all of you? And
well, at least they were comfortable.
They were, but it's one of those. This is one of those things. This is one of those things where the gaming community and geeks could probably not do that. And
I almost wonder if they like doing that because a part of them almost doesn't want normal people around. Like I was talking about in the first episode, I think that they intentionally. How hard is it to shave your one unibrow into 2 eyebrows? It doesn't take a lot of effort, but if you do that and you don't bathe and you wear the same stupid shirt and the Star Wars shirt from the 70s and you have pizza stains all over it and you're playing a game, you're going to keep out people who make you feel bad about being a loser.
Yeah. There's an element of that. I got that impression. Like it's kind of the, can you, you know, you shall not pass. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to pass. It's going to go back home, frankly.
I mean, I think that's one thing we could maybe chat about is the cliquishness that can occur even in geek culture, where they like being able to say, like having, to them, it's a sense of high standards or having ensuring quality into the group.
Well, not for anything. I mean, I get what you're saying, but when I started playing, I mean, this was my creative outlet. It wasn't mainstream. You were an outcast, but I reveled in that. I enjoyed that. I found acceptance with this game. I had a clique, a group of friends, and that's essentially what we did. So I don't know if it's different now because I'm older and I don't do that. So what do you think?
I think it was just a freak incident, truthfully.
Gotcha.
I don't think, because I've gone to like, this was a true, hey, you know, on my way to the forum kind of instance. I normally when I go to a meetup group or a gaming group, they're always welcoming and accepting. And these people weren't not welcoming. It was just like, guys, you're in fucking pajamas. And it's 8 p.m. What the fuck?
You just forgot your toga. That's all. You should next time. You should wear your toga. Do them one better. Oh, you guys are in PJs. Look at my fucking toga.
Or show up in your 3-piece suit.
Toga. Oh, there.
Show up in your 3-piece suit.
Yeah, there you go.
Sit down and play.
all I'm saying is for anyone who's interested in like gaming, like you want to get into it. There's a curveball thrown at you every once in a while, and I don't want. I can only imagine, like, okay, so I'm into gaming. I know what it is. But I've imagined there's got to be like, what if this was some noob's first time experience?
Oh,
he showed up like me, and he's like, what the fuck is this cult? Why are they not sacrificing goats? I'm never gonna game again, and so that would kind of paint a bad
I understand what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's like the people that show up at Wawa or a convenience store with their Ugg slippers and their pajamas. Like, what are you doing?
It's like our society is descending into or falling into 2 groups of people. People who are wearing their pajamas or wearing yoga pants. That's about it.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, yoga pants. Whether they should or shouldn't, they are. And they mostly shouldn't.
There's some of them who
nobody wants to see that shit.
They shouldn't be wearing yoga pants. They should be wearing a burqa, frankly. For the sake of all people with eyesight.
Well,
Amen.
There is that.
But Aaron, I'm curious, what was the age group? Because if they were in their late teens, early 20s, I could kind of forgive that. That's a whole generational thing. But are we talking about guys in their 50s?
Yeah, no. We're not talking people anywhere near as old as Vince or Rob, because nobody's that old. I mean,
Jesus,
the fact they're still speaking
he's fighting shots fired.
I know. Yeah. One over the
different war.
The fact that Rob knows how to use the internet is just. I believe in Christ now. I believe there's a God.
God damn it! I just barely figured it out this afternoon. You goddamn little whippersnapping punk! Give me a goddamn break.
That's right. It's like Aaron. It's like the old guys from
the Muppets.
No, not the Muppets. Well, that too, but from oh god,
that's okay, Vince. You're old.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, I'm having a
Think
senior
of the movie Grumpy Old Men. Think of that movie.
Those guys from Cowboy Bebop. We planted seeds like there is no tomorrow.
Okay, you planted seeds of your own kind, didn't you? Gotta do that.
What's funny is TJ doesn't have pubes on his balls, so he doesn't know how funny that is. That's what's great about it.
Take your pills, Grandpa. Take your pills.
It was squarely TJ's age or younger. It was 30s and younger. And what's sad is there was a fair amount of 30s.
I just
it was shocking. I didn't spend that much time. I literally walked in and said, "What the fuck?" I didn't say that. And I turned around and I walked away. And between me walking out of the door of my truck, I was like coming up with a plan. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna play Borderlands 2. That was kind of because it was just so. It's not that I wasn't in my PJs. It was just I don't want to be with you people. Kind of like, come on, really? Pajamas? And what's weird is so many people were in their fucking pajamas. Like they followed it. It's like, yeah, pajamas, 8 p.m. Let's go.
It was an official. Was it all kinds of games or was it just tabletop role playing?
I didn't stick around that. Like, I mean, I think it was board games.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to look it up again, but I didn't stick around that much. But going back to what my mind is remembering, there were different tables and there were different games going on. I didn't stop and interrogate to find out what, but there were different games going on.
So in that brief 30 seconds that you took a look around and said, what the fuck, I'm getting the fuck out of here. What do you recall there being the ratio of men to women? Because it sounds like a sausage fest.
Yeah, but it's a sausage fest all the time. Yeah, I didn't even bother. I didn't even look. I can just assume and I can guarantee you. Come on, Rob, when have you seen a group of women? When has it been a clam bake at a Dungeons and Dragons?
Clam bake.
I mean,
never heard that
you're
before.
right. That
you guys never heard of clam bake?
There's usually 3 token women tops.
Well,
but just sausage fest in pajamas. Jesus Christ, it sounds like a gay orgy.
Yes. No, that's why I turned around and walked away.
Now you know why. Never mind.
And I wasn't even trying it wasn't like, hey, the girlfriend's out of town. I'm going to find myself some hot tail at the Dungeons and Dragons Fest. Yeah. It was just, I want to hang out with some nerdy geek dudes. I'm like, hey, this is thing going on. A lot of people are showing up, and I come, I'm like, needle off the record. No, fuck this shit. I'm going home.
So basically, it was the pajamas.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
It was the
guys.
It was the pajamas that did it for you.
It was, you're making me really, I've never thought so much about 30 seconds of my life philosophically like that. It was an instinctual reaction. It was also an economic secondary. It was like, fuck this shit. I got more important crap to do. But then now that I look at it, it's a sad sociological, philosophical case study, observation about humanity where, I kind of, when I was young, in the 80s, it was like, okay, geekery is my domain. This is it. This is what I can always rely on. And now I went back and I was kind of like, well, it's not that social justice warriors infected it. It was like, guys, you're in pajamas. It's 8 p.m. and you guys actually wore fucking pajamas. And I'm kind of like, then it got weird. Like, I think what it was it's not pedophile or cultish, but it was kind of like, hey, we're all wearing pajamas. Don't you want to wear pajamas too? Hey, let's go cuddle next. Let's have coffee in bed. I'm like, fuck, I don't know your name even. I just want to roll some dice and imagine I was a goddamn paladin, for Christ's sake. And so it was it was eerie. That's the word. Eerie is the epitomal word that I want. It was eerie and really threw me off. And I just want to warn anybody, like, if you're going to go and they say pajamas, if pajamas is mentioned anywhere in the meetup group description, you probably don't want to go. But don't let that deter you. There are some normal, we should form like a normie group of gamers.
That's what it should say in the meetup for normies.
Well,
that way everyone knows that, well, we're going to be dressed like regular. Yeah. That way we're going to be, you know, dressed like regular people and not wearing pajamas in a sausage fest weird orgy thing.
Yeah. Well,
Jesus.
There are meetups that are strictly, you know, the pajama thing was probably an anomaly, or maybe it's something they do as a marketing thing. I don't know.
Well, he is in Vegas, and you know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Well, there is that. Yes, I haven't gone to many. A few meetups, a few comic book stores. I have yet to encounter a weird dress. I mean, someone may show up with a cloak or something because it's, you know, Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, yeah, that's to be expected. But, you know, leave it to Aaron to be the one guy that anyone knows, and he fucking finds the goddamn pajama party.
I don't search it out. Well, look,
it found you.
Yeah, it's well. I'm okay. Look, I'll even go for LARPing, because how cool is it to dress like Spike Spiegel? I've dressed like Spike Spiegel multiple times for Halloween.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'd do like I remember a group of guys over in St. Paul would do Shadowrun, and they dress like it and they run across the city, and I'm surprised none of them got arrested. But I can still go with that. But then there was just something about like, we're all gonna wear pajamas. It's like we're all gonna wear eye patches. It's like, no, something's wrong. Seriously wrong with that. But I'm okay with LARPing, because it's almost like do you guys have what do they call it? Like the Renaissance Festival?
Yeah, Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
We got it out here in Utah too. It's a pretty big thing out here.
The gossip.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. But
yeah, they're good. You've got the jousting, you have the falconry, the live chess. They have really good different medieval type beers. There's mead. You've got the big turkey leg you can walk around and gnaw on. That's kind of cool.
And I think it would be necessary too to have the full environment in effect. You do need people in character, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So I do appreciate that stuff, and I'm all cool for LARPing. You know, hey, get your theatrics out, but that the pajamas just crossed a line. I don't even know where that line is.
Well, yeah, if you saw a bunch of people dressed up like the characters they're going to play, that makes sense. If you're going to, okay, we're just putting it there. That is somewhat acceptable when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. But when you walk into a room, is there any condition in which people all just wearing pajamas? Unless I can't think of anything other than, it's time to leave. That's about the only. I can't think of any circumstances in which, even if I walked over if I was going to go hang out with a buddy, we were going to hang out and play Call of Duty, Nazi Zombies or something like that at his house, and every other guy was dressed in pajamas, and be like, guys, I'm going to go to the bar. I'll see you around. I'm not, it's just weird. It would be a weird, why are you on your pajamas? We can all sleep in our regular clothes. We're adults. We don't have to. Pajamas are for where your parents are forcing you to wear clothes that you don't want to wear when you go to bed, right?
That could have been worse. Could have been worse. They could have all been wearing onesies.
Oh Christ,
dude!
Thongs
with the flap on the ass.
It could have been pajama boy. No, all they need is their cup of coffee to talk to you about Obamacare.
Obamacare.
Yeah,
but let me ask you guys this: do any of you even have pajamas? I have my sweatpants and a t-shirt, and if it gets hot, I take off the t-shirt. Usually I'm in boxers and if that even, I mean, I don't have actual pajamas. These guys had fucking like the zip up adult ones. It was just weird as fuck.
Dude, the only thing worse was if they were dressed up as furries.
Oh,
but it's just not. Yeah. It's like, dude, you're busting out of there like it's a prison camp.
Yeah, it wasn't like
on your motorcycle, like Steve McQueen from The Great Escape.
Yeah, it wasn't like these guys were wearing like plaid pants and they got their cup of coffee and like they're hanging out. It was like actual fucking pajamas.
Oh, official pajamas.
And,
not even a smoking jacket. Jesus Christ.
There was no Hugh Hefner shit going on, but who owns pajamas? Weird people. That's what I see. Weird people own
12-year-olds.
Like,
or if you're on the set of Mad Men. But yeah, I have flannel, like a flannel bottom in the wintertime.
Right.
It's like a pair, it's like a flannel sweatpants, and then you wear boxer briefs and your t-shirt. Absolutely.
Right. I think that the whole, paw in his kerchief or his cap or whatever he's wearing from the Night Before Christmas type dress that went out with the 50s. So any other guy, it's sort of like, when people today, back in the day, Humphrey Bogart wears a fedora, it's cool. Today, if you wear a fedora, you're a Seattle hipster who's pontificating.
Hold it.
Okay, Kathy, you got away with it when you were.
Well, that's an official Indiana Jones fedora.
Right.
The other ones, some of the other ones I think are misnamed. I don't think they're fedoras. There's another name for those.
Yeah, I just it's sort of like now if I came into a room and the guys were all dressed like, from the 1890s or something, I would think that's a little odd for what you're doing, unless you're going to be in a movie production about the 1890s. But the pajama thing, like I said, there's no, that's not part of geek culture. That's a part of creep culture.
I think you nailed it. Yeah. Thank God I haven't seen it again. It's not. I think this is a one-off. I think it truly was, but I do want to delineate or differentiate. We have to understand what a fedora is. There's the Humphrey Bogart 1940s Sam Spade fedora, which is the pinnacle, the top achievement of American male fashion, and it had a wide brim. It looked sharp. And then JFK, in between banging Marilyn Monroe and running the country, he said, "I'm not going to wear a fedora." And then American men, like the sheep they are, followed it. But the fedoras, which are now, they're more like hat caps. They don't have as wide of a brim. They're not as masculine, and that's the I don't know what else to call it, but the brim. There's the Indiana Jones fedora, which that's a real hat. And the reason why it has value, there's practicality to it, is because it will block out the sun. If you ever watch you'll never see Humphrey Bogart or a guy in the 40s with a fedora wearing sunglasses, because the point of the hat was to be fashionable and to block out the sun. These dipshits with the 2-inch or 1-inch fedora.
Small brim, yeah.
Yeah, the small brim. Those are the fedora wearing dipshits. I still have a white brim hat to kind of do our man in Cuba or our man in whatever during the summertime. And then I also have a black fedora that I wear occasionally with a suit. And I will still don those hats when the fashion and the event call for it. But I will never wear one of those thin brim hats to be a fashionable rapster, gangster, fashionista, pussy, frickin' millennial. I'd like to say other words, but I can't. I'm not wearing those. No, those are the bad reputations. But if you're a classical man, you got a double-breasted black suit, you look like Cary Grant, you put on that classic 40s fedora, and I hate to say it, it's kind of sad. I always thought that had a pull. I always thought that made a statement, a classical statement. And when you wear it, which I will do occasionally, people look at you like you're a freak. like you're wearing pajamas. Oh yeah, yeah. They think like there's something wrong with you. They think you're in a show or a movie, and it's very tragic because I think that fedora, the classical '40s Humphrey Bogart fedora, Indiana Jones fedora, I think it's just it's a statement. It's a beautiful piece of fashion. Yes.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And once upon a time, that's men wore hats, and that's what they did.
So the masculine geek wears a real fedora.
He does,
not the creep fedora.
Yeah, the masculine geek has more
pin
inch.
Hat.
Has more
pin hat. That's what they call them, pin hats.
Oh, okay. So we're talking inches in size.
Well, but good luck getting. Let's be honest. The masculine geek. Are suits even a thing anymore? When's the last time you guys wore a suit that would then call for the wearing of a fedora? I haven't worn a suit in a long ass. I mean, I think tragically the suit is going away.
Yeah, I don't wear. I will wear sport coats with collared shirts with the collar stays. Collar stays. You have to have collar stays, and then you do the really nice dark jeans and fantastic shoes.
That's it. That's like that's the 40s version of dressing up. But are suits going away? I mean, aside from corporate America.
That's a good question. I don't see many men in suits other than going to business and certain corporations and things like that. But outside corporate culture, I don't think so.
Well, God, maybe that's what the masculine geek needs to do is, let's bring back the suit.
We should all all right, next we're gonna get our suits, and next broadcast we're gonna show our video. We're gonna be hearing our suits.
Well, I think the problem with the suit thing is that we live in an egalitarian culture. And egalitarian culture is always the standard is the lowest common denominator. And so the worst dressed person is the standard, because anybody who dresses better than that is considered elitist. We don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. We don't want to make people feel inferior. And so like you have these discussions in different corporate settings. Should we wear semi-casual, semi-formal? Should be fully formal? And all this other stuff. And it's really bad on the West Coast because we are so informal. I mean, you've got people who are making...
You guys shit in the streets, for God's sake. Seattleians just shit in the streets. You guys are fucking degenerates.
Well, I think it's you really
when you gotta go, you gotta go. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but you see it in the tech industry where you have these really, ironically enough, these very geeky guys who just they don't dress well, but they make tons of money, and that's really the standard that you see now. And so, I mean, look at Steve Jobs. Here's, as opposed to say Howard Hughes, but both were innovators or whatever. But Howard Hughes dressed very nice. He was, I think, very attuned to style. Steve Jobs was wearing that turtleneck, trademark turtleneck and jeans. And
that's one thing with turtlenecks I could never get into it. You look like, not for anything, but you look like a foreskin. You just look like a foreskin.
That's what. You look like Michael Keaton from Batman.
Well, that's fine. That's good. All right,
that's masculine.
Yeah, you can go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think
Batman. You can wear what the fuck you want, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Life doesn't give you seatbelts. I think that's really, but it's ironic that if you are very concerned, that might be the interesting thing to segue into. Is it's almost seemed like there's something unmasculine about a man who cares about his grooming and appearance, like dressing well, knowing a little bit about like just having some basic fashion taste where you're not dressed like you were, decked out by Oleg Cassini, but you also aren't looking like you just crawled out of a Seattle dumpster.
Yeah, well, that's to the point too, because I mean, we'll play devil's advocate here, because you're going to hear people, whether they listen to this or they're in another conversation. Well, who cares about masculinity? What does it matter? You could just be a geek. You don't have to be a masculine geek. What would you say to them, TJ?
I would say that being masculine is a way for a man to attain genuine satisfaction with his life, because it's it's like somebody coming to terms. I mean, it's ironically enough, you hear this all the time in the culture about people are rejecting their true self, or they're not remaining true to themselves. Men being masculine are men who are being true to themselves and doing what they are meant to be doing. There's a reason why we call it masculine for males, and feminine for females, because those are traits that do well with the way that they're biologically
the polarity.
Yeah, the polarity, but how they're biologically designed. I mean, the idea that, for example, that women should be assertive and aggressive and confrontational and all this other stuff, that doesn't mesh with the fact that we have 16 times the amount of testosterone in our bodies as they do. So trying to pressure women into being the masculine in that sense doesn't correlate with their biology. It requires them to fight their own biology. And the same thing with men, telling them to reject their natural desires. And not to say that everything that's being masculine doesn't make you good, but being we're going to dive deep into it, but that's kind of just my initial answer is, trying to reject who and what you are will only bring misery.
I'll shorten it even more. I agree. I totally agree with TJ. He definitely brought up a really good thing, but I'll shorten it even more to go back to your question, Vincent, about, why be masculine? If a guy ever approached me, and I say guy because chances are he's not a masculine man if he even has to bring that up, my answer to that guy or that person, that woman, if it's a woman,
whoever,
would be,
exactly.
But let's assume right now that most likely it's going to be a guy, because real women, feminine women, let's put it that way, feminine women want a masculine guy.
Absolutely.
That's how that rolls. And so if it's this bitchy male kind of guy, well, who needs masculinity?
That's pretty much what I was getting at. Yeah.
Okay. My answer, like I said, I liked TJ's answer, but mine to him would be, do you want to get laid? Do you want to have sex at any point in your life? Then you need to be a fucking masculine man if you want to get laid, unless you want to, harpoon land whales. Otherwise, if you want a woman that actually looks good in yoga pants, and she's got a figure, she's got that, the Coke bottle figure going on kind of thing. We all know the magic numbers, that golden ratio type of thing, that if you want that, then you need to be a masculine man, because otherwise you're either jerking off to porn and your anime pillow that we talked about last time, or, you're harpooning land whales, because otherwise, so why be masculine? To get laid, to have sex.
Well, because that's right now with everything floating around with this this made up word, toxic masculinity bullshit.
Oh, Jesus.
It's unbelievable. You're going to hear this. Well, what do you care? It doesn't matter. You don't need that. Why do you have to compartmentalize this? It's like, and we are going to get this kind of like this pushback.
Oh yeah.
So. Right. And I think the problem is, I would then throw it back at them as, why don't you want to be masculine?
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's sort of like
effort. It takes effort.
It does.
It takes effort, but does it not make you more satisfied because it requires effort? Anything of value requires effort. Well, so if it's harder to be, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I would say, I would ask him, I'd say, so if it's not important for a man to be masculine, what is he if he's not masculine? And is it easier? And what takes more courage to be, or take more effort to be? And really, I don't think people have really thought it out, because when they say, why be masculine? I'd say, well, what if you're not masculine, what are you? And why would you want to be that?
What I was going to say is, and this is very germane to being a geek and being masculine, is many men, I would call them boys, use geekery, comic books, video games, whatever else, as escapism.
Yep.
And forgiveness, or an excuse to actually be a man.
It's a buffer.
And this is, it's false agency or purpose and reason in living in life. Where you see people who like, oh, I'm going to buy from Gillette because they advocate this moral cause, or I'm going to buy from Starbucks because that, and I'm going to game because in my own mind, I believe I'm a good moral person in this fantasized world. And what I've seen with a lot of guys in the geek world and nerds is guys who, I was physically small, genetically small, but I made myself to be as strong as I possibly could for my height and size. I never excused myself because of my size. I say, oh, well, I can't because I'm small and this and that. And so I'm going to live vicariously through a video game or through Dungeons and Dragons or through some kind of, like, I never had geekery and gaming and video games replace my value in life. Gotcha. And so that's why I think the huge gap is, and I hate to say it, almost 85%, 100% based on what I saw last night, of these people use gaming and geekery as a substitute for actual achievement and accomplishment. Not for once. You guys know Sled, right? You guys all know Sled?
Yes, we do.
Wait, Sled. Am I Sled?
There's a good amount of you in Sled, yes.
Okay, so there's some overlap. Yeah,
there's a little overlap there. Yeah,
but I don't live like, what was it back in the 80s? Somebody lost their D&D character because he got killed and then he killed himself. Yeah, Sled is not me. It's a character. It's a game. It's fun. And what I see with a lot of men, particularly, is they escape to a fantasy world with gaming that allows them to believe that they're a level 25 barbarian, and his name is Thorlock, and he slays the bandits, but also slays the ladies. That's right. Not the real world. And I think that is a key. It's good and bad for geekery and gamery, where, yeah, you're pussifying all these men. They're going to find an alternative vicarious reason to live, which will land them squarely in gaming and video games. But for those of us who still have a toe in the real world, no, that's fun. That's not the real world. And so I would like to invite a lot of the geek. I think there's a lot of young men who have found solace or their false purpose in life through gaming to, like, hey, that's not your life. That I don't care how good you are at, what was it, World of Warcraft, all these guys. I don't care what your level is in World of Warcraft. That's not the real world. So I think we got to get a lot of guys out of the gaming world into the real world, but then also a lot of real men who would like to participate in gaming. Don't worry, you're not going to lose your masculinity unless you wear pajamas. Because if you wear pajamas,
I was waiting for that.
Fucking homo as hell, man.
And I invited a friend and coworker. Jared has just joined us.
Oh, God.
I know, right? I hear you. You there?
All right, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my mic was up.
Yes, your mic is indeed up. So we have Aaron, Rob, TJ, and myself, and you'll see all the names come up on the little icons on the bottom right-hand side.
All righty.
So everyone say hello to Jarrett.
Welcome.
Definitely a masculine geek.
What up?
All right, Jared, you're in the hot seat, buddy.
You are.
We need the introduction. What's
already had ours. What's your impression of pajamas? What do you think about pajamas?
What do you think of pajamas at the D&D game?
Since I think because I've never been to one, that I may not be the proper choice to ask this question.
Gotcha. Well, Aaron can go ahead and give a quick synopsis of what happened in like one paragraph. Maybe he can. He's muted. He's probably... All right. So he went to a meetup and he took his D&D stuff and he thought he would sit down and play. But apparently it was pajama night. So it threw him off. Everyone was wearing pajamas. Yeah. So
what onesies
and zippered pajamas and all kinds of weirdness.
So. With the butt flap?
I know, right?
Classic, though.
It's possible. It's possible.
Got the butt flap, then
with the buttons, not the zipper. The buttons. With the buttons,
like
yeah.
Elmer Fudd, you got to do the whole nine.
Yeah. You know what, Jarrett? Turn up your mic a little bit. You're a little low.
Okay. Let me.
Yeah.
All right.
That's better. Yeah.
Better. Okay.
Oh yeah. There you go. Aaron is draining the lizard.
No, he's taking his grandpa pills.
He's gonna take his He's taking his prostate pills.
It's cholesterol meds.
He also had to check his steps, his daily steps.
Right? Yes.
He needs to make sure that he actually walked from the bedroom to the kitchen.
There you go. Yeah. Oh,
so that way he can beat Space Marcus.
There you go.
I just heard Space Marcus, so I got back from going to the bathroom. What's happening now?
We heard you peeing. We heard you peeing.
I turned off the mic. I didn't want.
Yeah, we heard it anyway.
Yeah, we heard.
No, we know that you were checking your steps.
Did you undo the butt flap?
Anyway, what mockery was going on now about the steps? I heard Space Marcus and his Fitbit steps. Yeah, they're kicking my ass. I took a day off today.
Well, Cappy, you have to walk farther than just from the bedroom to the kitchen. Right,
dude,
and
I hiked 20 miles 2 days in a row. I have 40 miles in 2 days. I had a great hike, by the way.
Good Lord, now you sound like my grandfather. I used to walk to school uphill both ways in the snow.
Rob, no one's as old as you except you.
Well, that would be me.
Yeah, but Rob just looks old as fuck.
Rob looks true. Rob I am the silver fox. I am the silver fox.
There you
He's
go.
The anorexic Santa. No, I had. If any of you assholes that ever come visit me in Las Vegas, because it's such a horrible place to visit and prices are so expensive.
That's what I heard. It's been a while since I've been out there.
There's this great hike, and it's like my new favorite hike, and I'm going to take people on it because there are actual hot springs. When you say hot springs, how hot can it be? It's like the perfect temperature of hot tub hot. Yeah. And you can see exactly where the hot springs are coming out. It's almost like a hose. It's actually quite an amazing geographical formation. And we'll grab backpacks, throw in your swimming trunks.
Oh, nice.
And you just sit in there, and it's truly natural. It's wonderful. And it's also a great hike on top of it. TJ doesn't know anything about hiking, but we'll introduce the virgin hiker. None whatsoever. But yeah, it was a great hike. And I used that hike to put myself in first place in the competition. And, I go to sleep and then I wake up and then all the other assholes on the Fitbit competition have defeated me because they apparently walk at 3 a.m.
They're sneaking in their steps.
They do.
Here's what they do. Here's what they do. They put the Fitbit on the dog or the cat.
None of these guys do that.
And they let that shit run.
Nope. None of these guys do that. I trust these guys. They, Atham and Space Marcus, they're legit.
Oh, okay.
Very legit. Yep.
Gotcha.
No,
so they're not random people that you've.
No, these are assholes I've known, unfortunately, for a long time.
Nice.
But
Jared's over here. What have I got myself into?
Jared, do you hike at all, or what? What's your gig? What's your
do your geek in masculine geek intro.
No, I don't hike. I do take my dog for long walks, though, so I guess that maybe could suffice for that. I wouldn't be opposed to kind of getting him out there and spending some of his energy because he's a big ass lab pit mix and he's high energy anyway, so he can probably hike. But anyway. So I guess my thing is I love film. I geek over film, comics, fantasy stuff, books, all of that stuff. I'm not so much into gaming anymore, but I will try to grab one every now and then. But I guess like my biggest thing is I'm definitely a huge Harry Potter geek.
Really?
Absolutely.
What about, I have a theory. What about Dragon Ball Z?
If it's on, I would watch it, but I haven't really sat down and like gotten into it since I was like really young. Like coming home from school, that was like the cool thing to do was to get home and finish watching Dragon Ball Z. But I sketched a lot of anime when I was younger. But every now and then, if I see one, I know like I think AMC does like an event where they'll show like a film that's just going to be released for the day, and sometimes those are a lot of anime stuff. Like,
wait, the American Movie Classic Channel?
No, not AMC. Like AMC, like the movie theater.
Oh, the actual movie theater. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was thinking like, okay, you got It's a Wonderful Life, and then Dragon Ball Z comes on after. I'm like, what the fuck happened? How old am I?
No, I mean like the movie theater, LLC or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So yeah, they'll do events like sometimes I've done that. And I know just recently, I think a couple of days ago, they released a new Superman film called Reign of Superman, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm definitely going to go see. But Marvel, DC Comics, I'm totally into. That's kind of like one of my main things as well.
Okay. Now, Aaron, Jared is now the youngest here. He's pushed TJ out of that spot.
No.
Yo,
no
yeah.
one's younger than TJ. Just had his balls drop last week.
He popped his cherry on this podcast.
Exactly. Now, Jared, you're what, 29?
Yeah, I'm 29. I just turned 29 in November. So
okay.
Yeah.
How many women do you slay with that Harry Potter line? I mean, how many women do you reject per week? 20, 30, 40?
You'd be surprised how many females love like the geekiness of Harry Potter.
Really?
Absolutely, because usually they're fans too.
Yeah,
and I think mostly like, especially like growing up, like when I was in high school, like the films would come out, we'd go to the midnight release or whatever, and I'd have on like my white button down and like my Hog or Gryffindor tie on and shit like that, and my scarf. Like I was one of those guys. And, like chicks liked it because they look at it as like, oh, you're confident enough to just be open about what you're interested in and not like afraid of what somebody's gonna like think, because I really don't give a fuck, you know, whether anybody likes it or not, because you know that's what I want. That's what I like. That's what I want. So
let me ask you this, Jacob. Okay, because I'm too old, and
Jared.
I think Jared. And Jared. Sorry, Jared. Maybe even TJ might be young enough for this. I could be wrong, but I remember. Okay, so Harry Potter came out. I like the Harry Potter. I know everybody shits on it, but I like Harry Potter. It's wonderful. I think it's great. When Harry Potter came out, were you like a tween or something? Like, were you a kid at that time? Because it came out 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, well, no, it was much later than that. Like they started doing the films a lot later, but the book started. I think I was maybe 9 or 10 when the book started coming out, and I think I read my first one in 6th grade. So it was like 3 or 4 years.
Sure, 12 or whatever.
Yeah, like that's when I started reading them. So, because I think the first film came out, like when I was in 5th grade or something like that.
See, so that's my question. Like, you could, because the town I live in a place called White Bear Lake, and there's a local theater and all that other stuff. And I've been there for 13 years, and I kind of envied the kids. And I mean, kids. Now I look at it, it's like, I was 30, but these kids were in their teens or they're 12 years old. Now they're adults. But it looked just like fun as hell because they dress up like as the Gryffindor. They had the things. They had the scarf. And did you get to do that when you were a kid? Like you got to do that when you were 12 years old?
Yeah, absolutely. Like they did the releases of the books even. There were lines outside for that. Like I don't know of any other book that had that type of response, where kids were lined outside the doors to read,
right.
And it was life-changing for a lot of people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that enjoy stories and enjoy like escaping to another world, but don't really have the patience to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, has nothing to do with, their intelligence, but it's just like, you got to have the attention span for that. And a lot of kids, like my generation, and just have shitty attention spans. And
TJ is retarded, yes.
But I mean, like, you gotta look at
Grandpa, I'm gonna let that one slide.
Hey, hang on. Jared's talking, TJ. You go play with your toys now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
No,
sorry.
it's all good. But it's like you got to look at, like, you know, even stuff like, and I use Snapchat, but, you know, you get news now. They have these news stations on Snapchat where they tell you everything in like a minute or less. They give you like an update, like the, you know, of whatever's going on that's in pop news or political news or whatever. And they tell you like a little sum up in just, you know, in a minute's time. And you think back, you know, like 15, 20 years ago, like people sat down and watched the news every night for like an hour or so, you know, and spent the time to get that. But nowadays, everything's like so quick. Anyway, to say all that, I think it was great for kids to sit down and be able to actually read something because they were that enthralled with the story. So, and that was kind of like where I was, just because I have ADD like a motherfucker. And it was really nice to read something that kept my attention, that really kept me enthralled, you know. And yeah, it definitely set the pace for everything else for me, because that made me more open to want to read other things.
The only reason I ask is because I'm envious.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I see these kids like, okay, I don't want to dress up in pajamas, but holy shit, do I want to dress like Archer? You know, holy shit, do I want to dress like Spike Spiegel? I'm not totally into LARPing and
right.
Halloween is the only chance that
Aaron,
you
do you
can
think
get.
with Spike Spiegel you could pull off the floods?
Pull off the floods? What?
Yeah, his pants are like, there's like 3 inches between the end of his pants and the top of his shoes.
So I get shorter. So I buy pants that are as short as Rob's. What are you talking about?
It's just, because when we were younger, that was like, you were made fun of that. Oh, he's wearing floods. That's what they were called.
Oh,
like,
floods! Yeah,
floods. Yeah.
Fucking floods.
Yeah. You know what's funny about those guys that made fun of us?
What's that?
Yeah, they're all dead or fat.
That's true.
And I'm being deadly serious. I looked up everybody on Facebook. They're like fucking nobodies. It's great.
Well, there is that, yes.
It's great being a geek because
that is true.
We're superior and we make more money.
That's is true.
Basically it. And we didn't fucking knock up chicks at 17. You didn't get laid? Yeah, well, I didn't get laid at 17, but I didn't knock up a bitch either. So, you know, fucking choose. I guess I'm a virgin at 18. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. Hey, TJ, when are you going to lose your virginity? I mean, like, you're 31 now. I mean,
give it a couple more decades.
He's
waiting for the right one.
Yeah.
But no, to get back to Jared's point, no, Jared, I wish, because I was envious. I saw these kids going to my local theater and they were dressed up. You know, they were like so excited. And I'm trying to remember the last time, like, if there was ever an instance in my generation where it was like, maybe Star Wars, but no,
Star Wars. Bullshit, maybe. You weren't out here. Christ almighty, everyone was either Obi-Wan Kenobi or Darth Maul.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
So I
didn't get that. And then I'm just thinking, like, that's got to be freaking awesome. I mean, yeah, okay, it's Harry Potter. Everyone makes fun of it, but it was great. I envy you, quote, you kids, that you could enjoy it back in your youth.
Right. May I regale you with an anecdote from my own life that's applicable?
You copped the feel of a girl you got underneath the broad, DJ?
No. I dressed up as Han Solo for the midnight opening of the Revenge of the Sith that came out in 2005.
Really?
Because at the time, we were under the impression it was going to be the last Star Wars movie ever. And we're like, we're not going to miss this. So we all dressed up. My buddy, he got an entire like Sith cape, you know, like the robe thing hooded robe that you wear. He got that made. And then the other guy dressed up as Yoda, which was interesting because he was the tallest one of us all. So that's why people thought it was really weird. But no, we waited for several hours outside that theater, and it kind of felt we felt a little weird, but we also thought it was cool because my generation was born after all the Star Wars movies came out. We were, you know, in our had been at least a decade before we could even be old enough to know what they to watch them and really understand them. So to have a Star Wars movie come out during our lifetime that we could see in theaters that is brand new was for us a really exciting experience. And of course, it turned out to be a total dumpster fire. Only to
no. The bullshit that's out right now or the last couple of years, that's the fucking dumpster fire. You can shit on the prequels all you want, but oh my God.
It is true.
The prequels, I think that's the point, is the prequels were not good. Like honestly, the first Phantom Menace was actually okay. It was an okay film. I remember watching it for the first. Actually, I saw that one in theaters as well when that came out. But the reason the Revenge of the Sith was so important is I thought it was gonna be the last Star Wars movie ever, and I actually, unfortunately, I didn't go see The Force Awakens, but I did see The Last Social Justice Warrior that came out last year. And no, I only went because I actually was not going to go, but everybody else was going, and I got a free ticket. Because if I hadn't gotten that free ticket, I wouldn't have gone. I was watching that movie just thinking, I will never get those 2 hours back that I could have. I could have spent, watching paint dry or watching guys in pajamas playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? Those would have been better off.
A sight not to be missed.
Right. This movie was just so bad. I was watching the intentional destruction of the Star Wars mythos. They were they were taking these characters and assassinating them on the screen. And so I've really gotten cynical. I don't go to any movies anymore unless like I went and saw Vice, which is not a geek culture related thing at all, but I was getting paid for it to do a movie review. But I honestly just don't go see movies, even when they're geek. They appeal to my geek side of me. I was like, I can wait for it to come out in video, and then I can go put it on my TV for $1.50 from the local rental place. But but we did dress up, and I still have photographic evidence. So of my geek life as a teenager.
Okay, so you need to send that to Vincent so we can use that as the thumbnail for this podcast.
Absolutely.
I will see what I can do.
Sweet.
Awesome. I like it.
You guys ever watch oh shit, what the hell is the name of the show? 1960s Stalag 17 spoof. Help me out, Vince.
Stalag 17 spoof. Ah, shit.
Was that Hogan's Heroes?
Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, yeah, Hogan's Heroes. Okay.
I just watched Stalag 17 for the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever watched Hogan's Heroes, the TV show?
Like one episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
EJ, you have got to watch that show. It is my favorite TV show ever. And speaking of dressing up, I always wanted to get a group of people together to dress as Hogan's Heroes. And the problem is, like, we got the black guy, my buddy Richard, because he's black, and fuck you, yes, it's racist because he's the black guy, so he's going to be fucking Kinch, all right? So he's the black guy. But then the real problem with getting to pull off Hogan's Heroes, like, who's the fat guy? To be Schultz?
Well, I see.
Because yeah, because you gotta like admit, like, oh yeah, you're fat, So
you can always put a pillow inside. Hey, you can just have Rob or somebody put a pillow inside their shirt or something like that.
You know what's interesting? You guys remember Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah.
The guy who played Boss Hogg.
Yeah.
Roscoe.
Oh, okay.
He actually wore a bodysuit to make him look fatter. He actually wasn't that big of a dude. He wasn't that big of a dude. But do you know what's awesome about him?
What?
He was a cryptographer in World War II.
Ooh,
I mean,
really?
Wow. He was a man's man.
Wow. He's the characters in Dukes of Hazzard, including Roscoe P. Coltrane. Roscoe P. Coltrane, whoever the actor was, I forgot who he was. He's like, I'm not going to do this unless it's family friendly. And he was a Shakespearean actor. The value of Dukes of Hazzard was not the actual Dukes of Hazzard. It was the bad guys. It was like Batman. It was the bad guys in the 1960s shows. The Roscoe P. Coltrane and Boss Hogg, those actors were way beyond any caliber of character that you and me and everybody else here is. So the guy, I think his name is Solel. He's dead now, unfortunately. He was a World War II cryptographer. And he actually was like, nope, I want to be this. I want to be, play the bad guy. And then Roscoe P. Coltrane would not do it unless it was family friendly.
So I got a funny story, Aaron, that's related to your talking about how you wanted to dress up as Hogan's Heroes. So
yeah,
the other problem is it would involve German uniforms.
So
well, so here's a funny story. So I knew a group of guys who they play some sort of board game, and as part of playing the board game, they would dress up as like some sort of world leader or dictator or whatever. So some guy would do Genghis Khan, some guy would do like a hacker and whatever. Well, one of the guys went to the costume store and got this German uniform. It was Vermont, like. So he's on his way over to the guy's place, and the guy calls him up and says, "Hey, can you go pick up something at some food at the grocery store?"
Oh shit!
He was like, "Oh god!" So he walks in the grocery store, and this
did he take his shirt off? Hold it. At this point in time, wouldn't he know enough to like?
This was a long time ago. This was not
okay.
recent.
So what? It's a long time ago. Wouldn't you know enough? People weren't retards in the 1970s, except the baby boomers, which was everybody back then.
But I think people would have been a little bit more assuming on the innocent, like there's as if somebody came in walking like a Viking, they would obviously understand. Oh, he's part of some costume.
Right.
Thing. If you walked in wearing a World War II uniform, they're going to assume that you're part of some sort of not LARP, but reenactment or something.
Live action thing.
Yeah, live action thing.
Sure. Yeah, your costume, yeah.
So he goes in. This 5-year-old girl is holding her dad's hand. His back's turned. She looks at him and just says, "Daddy, Nazi!" And
Germans are invading.
Jesus.
Well, he just kind of looks around and the dad starts howling. That was hilarious. But I was just that when you were telling that story about how you want to dress up as Hogan's Heroes, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be a problem nowadays.
God!
Don't put on the stuff until you get to the house and you're not at the grocery store trying to pick up beer.
There was to give foreign military members who have fought in wars, whether they were against us or not, a little bit of valor. One of the more shameful things I've done in my life is there was a World War II celebration at the local regional airport, and you had different planes. There's a P-51, there's a B-1B bomber, or not B-1B, B-25, and so I walked, and all of a sudden I see a guy in full Nazi regalia garb, and the man had to be at least 70 years old.
Wow.
And there was data and display, and this guy was part of what was the German Air Force? The Wehrmacht? Not the Wehrmacht. What was it called?
Oh shit!
Luftwaffe.
The Luftwaffe. He was a Luftwaffe pilot, and this was before I was in my 20s. I did not know the rapport that pilots had, where it didn't matter if this gentleman was dressed in his regalia from a previous enemy Air Force. That's just what you did, and you respected that.
There was a respect there, yeah.
There was a respect, and I failed to have that respect. I'm like, who is this fucking Nazi guy? And I felt, in hindsight, as I learned more about the respect that military members had of other people, it's like, well, maybe we don't hate each other personally, but this is what we're trained to do. He must have been some kind of fucking ace. He must have been some of noteworthy historical value, because he had so many freaking medallions. And the Nazis weren't like the fucking North Koreans were like, oh yeah, you shit and you wiped your own ass, here's a fucking medal. This guy, even though he was fighting against the United States, he was an accomplished individual, and he had the respect and the balls to show up at this World War II thing in uniform, and I tragically, in my youthful naivete, I wish I would have talked to him.
I was going to say, talking to him would have been very interesting.
Yeah, and he's probably dead now, and that opportunity passed, and I feel such shame and bad because it wasn't personal, and fucking 60 years ago at that time even. Yeah. But it would have, and here he was dressed in his uniform, proper as a real soldier would, regardless of whatever nation you fought for. And I wonder how many other people dismissed him because of the Nazi uniform, because it's like, no, this guy was a pilot. He was a fighter.
You respect the wings. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You respect the man. And I just kind of wonder if Werner Kempler, you guys know, getting back to Hogan's Heroes, he played Klink.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Werner Kempler. And he was this very artisanal. He was an accomplished music composer, and he was very and he was a leftist. I do remember him and Bob Crane rammed heads behind the scenes, because Bob Crane was an American and a capitalist, and Kempler was a socialist and a left-leaning guy. And here's Kempler, and I remember he went in a parade, and the Americans, this is 1960s. Stupid, dumbass fucking Americans were booing him.
Really?
Not realizing Kempler was a fucking Jew actor who wanted to play that role to mock the Nazis. And people were not able to discern or delineate that he was mocking and ridiculing Nazism as an actor, and they still booed him.
Damn.
Because he, quote, played a Nazi on a spoof television
They just couldn't get past that surface shit. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and then there was a little bit of shame on my part that I couldn't see past that with the German fighter pilot. So it's so I'm glad to leave us on that happy note. And
I'm gonna. Jeez. Fuck.
So let's all take our cyanide taprblets now, and
drink the Kool-Aid.
Take your pills, Grandpa.
Oh, TJ, you prepubescent virgin.
Well, Aaron gave us that was a roundabout way of talking about his weekly geekly.
Sorry.
No, an hour later.
That might actually be a good recurring thing, is to talk about horror stories or positive outcomes of our forays into the geek culture as masculine men.
Absolutely.
I'll have to come up with some stories. The problem is I live unto the mountains.
You're under a rock, literally.
Yeah, there's just mountains everywhere, and not a lot of. I mean,
chicks.
unless you count. What? Oh,
it said chicks.
Not a lot of women out there. You've got a lot of old women.
A lot of sheep.
Sheep. Jesus.
No, wrong part of the state.
Jared, are you aware of TJ's living conditions, or no? Are you brand new to the outfit?
He's brand new, yeah.
Okay. So TJ is like the local bachelor in this small retirement community over in Cascadia.
Retirement community. They let him in they grandfathered him in.
And they grandfathered him. He bought a little plot of land.
I brought Cappy with me to portray my grandpa so that he could sign all the paperwork.
Oh, he vouched for you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He said, yeah.
And then all the cougars who are like 55 plus hit on him, and they say, "Can you walk my dog? And maybe you could walk me later. Hey, giggity, giggity."
Jesus.
What's Jared's story? We don't know Jared. You got to introduce him a little bit more there, Vince. You got to who's Jared? Like, he's just this guy. He watches Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z and Harry Potter. He rides motorcycles. He has a.
Oh,
yeah. He just got he just got a new acquisition. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I was riding a Honda 750, which was a nice little intro bike, but
Shadow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I've graduated to a Honda VTX 1300. It's nice. Beefy,
there we go. There we go.
So it's nice. It rides great. I did actually go out a couple times in the cold. You know,
I was about to ask if you went and ventured out into the freezing temps over here.
Yeah, it was like when I went, I tried to stick to the warmer ones where it was floated around like 50, but I think the lowest that I rode in was like 40 or so, and that was.
Where do you? I mean, you don't have to mention it, Jared, but I mean, what part of the country do you live in?
Northeast.
Okay, so you do have real winters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In fact, it's in our area. It's gone down to about 6.
So. Yeah, 55 here in Vegas. So
shut up! Shut up!
My fucking dick.
You bastard.
I'm out here fanning my balls. It's sweating because it's so fucking warm. Shut up.
So you got the 1300 VTX. Have you done Dragon's Tail? Have you gone? Where have you gone?
No, you see, that's the thing. There's not really anything in the area. So I was telling Vince a couple times, like I definitely want to take some long rides out somewhere to kind of see what's out there. I know.
Yeah.
You know, if I ride like maybe 2-3 hours in any.
We were talking about doing the Poconos.
Yeah, for sure. That would probably be a really good ride.
Yeah.
Wait, but that's see here's what I don't get. Okay, you guys got a motorcycle, and this is the problem I have with you East Coasters.
Look,
it's like, oh, that's 50 miles away. I can't drive that far. It's like,
well, to be fair, he just got this heavyweight, so
right. But
I don't even know if I'd call it a heavyweight. It's more of a middleweight.
Okay.
Yeah, 750. He upgraded from a 750 to a VTX. Yeah, that's not that big of a.
Yeah, like
no, that's more like a middleweight.
Middleweight.
And then the VTX is I think like 760 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean,
Jared, not to get too personal, but I mean, what do you weigh? Are you a bigger guy, smaller guy, or what?
Yeah, I'm short, stocky. I mean,
you can still handle a VTX.
Like 5'10".
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, you can
like 220. So
you could the VTX. I mean, do you work on your own bike?
Yeah. I mean, I'll do like small like maintenance stuff, like oil changes, tires, if I can. If I like the thing about that is it's got to have the rubber already on the rims, but because I don't have a balancer, but I know people that do have them. But anyway, I'll just stick to like the oil changes, spark plugs, stuff like that, like whatever cosmetic upgrades, stuff like that. Like the one that I have now does have a full LED light kit on it already, so that's pretty cool.
So do you got ape hangers on it?
No, this one's just got regular like sweat bars. The Shadow had drag bars, so like that was probably the most uncomfortable. People see ape hangers and they think that they're super uncomfortable. Like I've been on the bike with ape hangers, and that was actually kind of comfortable, surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
It was
if you get the right size. If you got the right size of apes.
That sweet spot.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
What? When are you? When are you gonna come on the other side of the Mississippi where all the cool shit is, instead of being an East Coaster like Vince, where it's like, we got culture. We got culture over in Boston. Hey,
I'm not in Boston, you son of a bitch. Look, you, Joyce. Look. Hey.
Yeah, he's talking here from a Harvard bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Harvard.
It's
like
wicked
apples?
smart.
Here's your apples.
You like apples? I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Or put this burger on burger layaway. You pay $50, get your burger.
Give me the goddamn burger.
I do have a question for Jared. So, Jared, when are you going to stop being a pussy like Vince and come over on the other side of the Mississippi? Is what I asked.
Right.
That's fine.
I know, right? He's goading me. He's like, all right, let's see if he actually
trying to draw him out in the open.
Yeah, I'll be out there. Don't worry.
Well, you guys, you all have an invite. Crash over at the Southern Command. But yeah, if I'm telling Jared, have you ever driven like motorcycles over on the west side of the country or no?
No, I have not.
Oh God, Vince, what about you? Have you made it over this side?
No, I'll be getting a bike probably in April.
Oh God, Rob, what
Yes,
do we do to educate these youngins, these morons think like? Rob, have you ever done the Dragon's Tail over in Tennessee?
No, that I have not. The furthest east I've gone right now would be Sturgis, South Dakota, is about as far east as I've gone. Mine's been all West Coast, Southwest, Texas, California, even though you got to wear a helmet.
Yeah,
Arizona. Yeah, I've baked in that one.
Okay. There's no reason.
Yeah,
That's as far east as you have to go. I'll admit that some bits of, no, I'm being serious.
Colorado's
I'm being
nice.
serious. Some bits of, well, yeah, okay, Colorado, but that's just south of South Dakota. If you've been to Sturgis, you're further east than I think even the most eastern border of South Dakota. You're straight north of it. But there, you really, that's it. Fuck the rest of the United States. There's really not. I did it's Highway 129. They say, oh, you do the Dragon's Tail over in the Smoky Mountains, and I drove down, visited Chris Beckloff and a buddy of mine down in Raleigh, and so I'm like, okay, here's and I'm not gonna lie to you, Rob. I had done half of the Dragon's Tail without knowing I had done half of the Dragon's Tail because it's that underwhelming.
Wow.
And these these East Coasters, these East Siders, like, oh, well, we got the Adirondacks, and we got the Smoky Mountains, and we got.
Oh, you mean those hills?
Hey!
You mean those little hills?
Ohio River.
Yeah, go hike the Rockies.
Have you been to Cleveland? There's some buildings there. And I'm like,
some buildings.
I'm just like, if the eastern side of the United States got nuked, I'd be perfectly all right with that as long as my friend Vince and Jared had made it over. But it is.
Hey, there's why you need to make a road trip, guys, just in case, we do get nuked. Then you're over on our side of the mountains. You're actually past some real mountains.
That's true. Yeah. We have the route down, so we know what to do.
Yeah, you guys, Jared and Vince, you guys have got to come to the west side.
You do.
Just ain't no goddamn reason to be on that east side.
Pick me up when you're on your way down to the Southern Command, because Salt Lake's like 6 hours, 7 hours. It's a day. You stop and piss twice. You have a bite to eat, and you just go. It's a quick ride.
We'll do it.
No, it is. Seriously, I've rode to Vegas. I don't know how many times. That's usually what I do in the spring, and even in the early fall is I'll ride down to Vegas on one of my bikes. And it's, it can be, depending on how you go, it can be kind of pretty, but then again, it can also be boring as fuck. Right. But it's an easy ride as far as I'm concerned. It's not a big deal.
All the way down, yeah.
Yep. That's it. 85 miles an hour and just go.
So Vince, there's these states out west.
That's what I hear.
You may have heard of them.
I have heard of a few of them. Yeah,
they're kind of very square-like and 90-degree-ish.
Yeah,
and we can hold all of the eastern border and the eastern states in one state. Yeah, that's how it is.
And there's not slow ass driving foreigners in the left lane. And
speaking of that, how did you enjoy your drive when you came out to Gettysburg in October? How did you enjoy your drive at like the middle of the ass crack of fucking dawn out to the house?
Well, I just drove up from Baltimore up north. It was an uneventful drive.
Was it okay? All right.
It was. Do you know what the happiest part of that drive was?
When you were finished it.
No, it was when I found out there was a 24-hour McDonald's in some sizable town I could eat.
Nice.
And then I won't lie to you guys. Speaking of geekery, and you I am admitting right now, I'm ignorant of something. I am missing something.
Holy shit. Write this down.
Write it down.
Yeah, write this down.
This is what happens when he stops taking his pills.
Apparently.
What the fuck is the big deal about Gettysburg? I like the town, but why did we spend hours looking at fields? I don't get the battlefield. I don't get the. They made a goddamn. I know I'm in the wrong because they made multiple movies about this field, and I'm looking and I'm like, okay, there's a field here, and tragically, many men died. I understand the weight of history.
Yeah, exactly.
But we just walked around a bunch of fields, and I'm like, okay,
And we did a little hike to Big Round Top. We went out to the lookout on Little Round Top.
Who was afraid of the lookout? Who had the fear of heights? Was that you or is that somebody else?
I think it was John.
Oh,
when
John
we went to the lookout tower
yeah.
on the Virginian line. Yeah,
he was all freaked out.
Yeah, he was.
He went up 20
feet. He did it though. He made it. We were very proud of him.
I'm very Some people charged at Omaha beaches. Some people was in Iwo Jima.
Some people
and he walked up 2 flights of stairs.
And some people are offended by words.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. No, it was. I love the town just because everything is
great.
The town is fantastic. I like wandering about. Usually, I'm doing it by myself. I can read. I can write. I can be with my own thoughts. There's a certain reverence to walking the battlefields that I like, and I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Is that because you are more versed in the Civil War history? Because I'm completely. I mean, I know the Civil War and some basics about it, but obviously Gettysburg. It was germane, very relevant to the Civil War. Was it because you studied the Civil War, that particular battlefield, and that's why it had relevance, or what?
I have, and I also in my first novella series, one of the main characters, Dennis Malone, he's an ex-Civil War cavalry sergeant, so there's sort of a tie in there. So, but yes, I've studied the history of the area, and I'd like to get to. There'll be another battlefield gathering next October or this October, and there'll be a different battlefield, so you won't be going back to Gettysburg if you decide to join us. Exactly.
Right. Which one are we going to this time?
I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be a little further
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. The Battle of LA. Yes.
The battle of the gangsters versus the feds. Isn't that a great historical moment?
That's a fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely. That and the
battle
mob
versus the FBI.
Yeah.
That's Jared. There's been no wars in my section of the country, so there's no history.
There you go.
That's a problem.
No one wants that piece of land. Who wants tetanus and fucking syphilis and herpes? Who wants Seattle?
I'm sorry. This is the guy who's in Las Vegas.
Hey, I'll pit Vegas against Seattle any day. At least we're fucking honest here. Seattle, my God, there's not one good-looking woman in Seattle. Not one.
There's probably 2, right? You can whip up 2.
No.
No.
I've been to Seattle. I have no desire to go back. Thank you. No.
Wow. Okay.
Just remember something. It's not just about the physical appearance. Then you have to actually go up and talk to one of them.
Oh, okay.
But if you wanted to.
Well, so what we're all saying here is TJ's got a special form of masochism that he decides to plant his ass out there.
No, I'm saying we're talking specifically about lowest. The lowest standard is just physically they're attractive. Then you go up and talk to one who is physically attractive, and what she has to say has to maintain that attractiveness. Cappy, you've discussed this yourself.
I've discussed it many times. Yeah.
Yes. What comes out of their mouth can make them unattractive to you.
Gotcha.
What you're saying in a more polite way is it makes your boner flaccid. Is that in a more polite way?
We'll make it even more geek oriented. You know, in the first Star Wars, when Ben Kenobi shut down the power grid on the Death Star, that's essentially that's what happens.
or even more germane, when Luke found out that Leia was his sister.
Yes. Between those,
well, there goes the lightsaber.
Yeah. Yep. Between those two things, yeah. So what you're basically saying is, do not visit Seattle.
No, Seattle is absolutely beautiful if the weather's right and if you spend a limited amount of time in a.
So one of those 3 days it's got sun.
Yeah, there we go, Rob.
Well, I'm just saying, if you go to the right places in Seattle and you are very specific about where you're going, you can actually have a good time. It's just you don't see the underbelly fully of an area until you spend a decent amount of time in it. I mean, my area, I was a tourist for coming from the west side, but now that I'm here, I'm seeing all this stuff that I never saw before, like proms that are going on that I thought I'd left on the west side, but they're actually over here as well.
Let me ask you this, TJ. When is the last time you saw an attractive woman in Seattle that you actually were compelled to approach?
Compelled to approach, that's the key part. I'd say it's been years.
Yeah.
I just don't go to Seattle. That's the
I know, but I visit Seattle somewhat regularly, and I was very shocked, even in this most recent one. And admittedly, I was in Tacoma, which is not Seattle, but I consider it. But I was just shocked at how ugly people were, but male and female. I'm not slamming on the women, and I'm trying to imagine the instance or the event where I would actually approach a woman in Seattle, and I'm kind of thinking like, no, it would never happen. It just
the Tacoma is known as the underpit or armpit of Washington. I believe that's what it used to be called. So if the people aren't exactly
they were hideous.
You know,
I'm not joking, TJ, I'm not joking. I wanted to kill them. I looked at them like, God.
How do you really feel, Aaron? You're being vague.
I told you I'm not joking.
Aaron, you need to take those pills.
The only reason there aren't corpses on the highway of Tacoma is because it's illegal for me. Like, I got this nice Tavor X95, and these people aren't doing jack fuck all shit, and they're a blight. They're a blemish upon society. Pow, 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 pow.
God damn.
I know that's dark. I know, and I'm not going to do it. I know it's illegal. I'm merely making the philosophical point as to how hideous, physically revolting people are in the Tacoma, Seattle area. That's all.
The Masculine Geek does not condone violence against
Masculine Geek. Yeah,
we do not. No.
I'm just saying that TJ corroborates this by saying, yeah, there ain't any good looking chicks. And he probably wants to murder as many people as I do, too. He's probably very implicit. He probably wants, he's guilty as hell. Let's arrest him now.
That's why I went to the mountains. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Right? You just get your cabin, you write your manifesto, and then you don't do anything else, right? That's
there you go.
How the
well, you know, the T in TJ stands for Ted. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, you guys.
Where's Jared? Jared, we're out of curiosity, are you planning on staying on the East Coast like Vince the Conformist? Or are you planning on like
I plan to retire.
I wasn't asking you, Vince. I was asking Jared.
I'm retiring in Maine. So there.
Another East Coast state. Great.
Absolutely.
Like Canada version 2.0.
But the people are nicer.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like right now I would say I'm with Vince in that field of liking to be on the East Coast right now, just because I like the cities. You know what I mean? It's simple to get anywhere. You got to drive like 10 hours just to get anywhere.
That's right. 10 hours to get gas. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, like the only other city that I've spent any real time in, I've been to Vegas. I've been to California for the most part. I spent most of my time either in San Francisco or LA. Other than that, like I really haven't been anywhere else on the West Coast. But I mean, I hear a lot of great things about places like Arizona, New Mexico, and stuff like that. But
so you've never been like Phoenix or Denver or anything like? No, dude, you gotta check that out. Then you won't go join that gay cult over in Maine with Vince. You'll actually have fun.
The Pajama Boy, the Pajama Boy Society.
Yes, I'll make sure I get the buttons on the ass flaps.
Well, and make sure you wear the ass flaps in the back, not the front.
So make sure to get a short brim hat to go with it.
There you go.
Jared, I got to ask, Jared, have you ever ridden motorcycles like in Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, or anything like that?
No, I mean I'm fairly new, so yeah, I've yet to really do anything out there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll be out there.
You got the VTX won't fail you. Okay, it will not fail you.
Good bike.
Good bike. I got one back over in Minneapolis. I got a Sabre over here in Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
this spring, seriously, you haul ass across Highway 40 and get your ass out to the west, or maybe Highway 80. It depends on what you want to do north. It'd be better springtime on the southern routes to go Highway 40. But seriously, if you're a big motorcyclist or even a moderate motorcyclist, you owe it to yourself. You got to do Moab. You got to do Rob, help me out. What's the other national park? Zion. Zion. You got to do Zion. You got to do Colorado. Rob, have you ever done the Enchanted Circle down in northern New Mexico?
No, that one I have not done.
That's nice. The Apache Trail. Have you done the Apache Trail down in Phoenix?
Christ, I think that's one of them I have done. It's been so many years.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think.
Jared, I'm just saying. I know your gay lover Vince wants you to stay there in the cult, but you got to get on the other side of Mississippi, man.
Jesus Christ! You guys are relentless. I'm coming out, for fuck's sake. I'm coming out.
Cappy has learned that he has to be a scrappy little persnickety.
It's because he's short. He's short. He can't. It's part of.
I'm the same side as you, for God's sake. I think TJ's the tallest.
I'm 5'10".
Okay, you're taller than me. TJ, what are you? 5'10", 5'11"?
Yeah, 5'11" or 5'10".
Jared, what are you? Are you taller than all of us?
No, I'm 5'10".
Okay, well.
Well, fuck all you guys.
What are you pushing, Rob?
What am I pushing? Depends on the day. Probably about 5'5" on a good day.
Oh, okay.
What do you ride, Rob? I mean, if you're a smaller guy like that, what do you got?
Well, I've got a Honda Shadow 750, and I've also got a 2017 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a sweet ride.
Why do you even have that? Why don't you sell the Shadow?
Because it's my first bike, man. I bought it brand spanking new, and I'm not giving it up for nothing, because there's been times when I've had to do maintenance or something on one or the other, and so it's down for a minute. And we're not talking just oil changes. Yeah. I've always got a bike. And at one point, the ex-girlfriend was going to learn how to ride. Sure, and so it was like, here, you can learn how to ride the Honda, because, you know, it's an easy bike.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you crash it?
Oh no. Well, I've never laid either one of those bikes down. So
my girlfriend got her motorcycle license, and in under 24 hours managed to crash a bike.
Wow. Oh, shit.
I was just like, oh yeah, she was fine. It was dipshittery, typical female bullshit. You know, why men should have the right to vote move. Yeah. And I'm just like,
so yeah, did you relegate her to the bitch bar then after that?
Yeah, no, it was a real, I know we're all funny and haha, but this was one of the more tragic decisions I had to make. It's like, do I have a wingman or do I have a bitch on the back? And I'm like, you know what? You're lucky you didn't like break your spine and you're in a wheelchair, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, you're relegated to the back of the motorcycle. And the good news is I got a motorcycle out of it. So I got a motorcycle down here, which is her bike. But it was really, I really wanted to have someone kind of riding with me. But that's not going to happen because I don't want to be pushing her in a wheelchair. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to have you on the back. And but it was sad. It was really sad because, you know, what guy doesn't want a gal that can like ride his six, you know, cover his ass, and, you know, but that's not in the cards, I guess. So, I mean, how many, do you guys even know a gal? I mean, I've been to Sturgis many times and I'm very familiar with the motorcycle culture, but how many women do you know actually ride their own damn bikes?
How many women do you know? I'm going to add a little to that because I know a lot of women that actually ride their own bikes, but these are women that don't look like women. At least not our type of women, the feminine, long-haired, you know, fit and trim.
Right, they're more the TJ type of women.
Yeah, they're the Seattle women.
The Seattle one, right? Tacoma.
Yeah, they're more that TJ? Type. Yeah, they've got they've got the 3 packs of cigarettes voice going on.
I like the 10th Amendment.
Yeah, they trim their hair short because can't have that shit flapping out from under their helmet. Yeah.
Is Cappy poking fun of me right now?
No,
he doesn't do that. No.
I was just saying what a great and admirable man you are, sir, and how I look up to you, even though you're younger than me, have accomplished so much more.
Well, that's what happens when I'm taller.
Oh. Short joke. Never heard that before.
Yeah.
It was quick, though. It was quick.
He's been waiting all night to say that shit.
I'm sure.
He's been sitting there going, come on, Clarey, say something so I can do the short joke. Yeah, there it is.
It's like that scene. It's like that scene from Band of Brothers, right, where they're waiting for the tank to move up just so they can hit with the bazooka, right? Just waiting for that sweet spot.
Which one? Oh yeah, not now. You're gonna get me killed, Lieutenant.
I told you were gonna get me killed.
God, now I want to go watch that shit.
No
Hello,
shit.
Second Armored.
Yep.
Hello, second. You sweet, beautiful baby.
No, but
not one woman understands. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
No, it's all good. It's all good. To kind of get back to the motorcycle subculture, though, I've been in and out of it a few times throughout the last couple decades, and there's not a lot of very feminine women that I've encountered that are riding their own machines for the most part. I mean, there's one or two, and they are veritable unicorns, but the majority of them, they are very rough, very butch. And so most of the feminine women I've seen are usually sitting on the back.
Right.
And
or serving drinks or whatever.
Yeah, they're showing their tits to everybody else type of thing, and that's about it. So yeah, it's probably better that they just be on the back then, because at least they look prettier back there than the ones I've seen riding their own machines.
Yeah. I remember, and Jared, when you ride out to Sturgis, you can expect this. We were driving from Rapid City to Sturgis, and this wasn't even during the Sturgis rally. It was summer, so there's still a lot of motorcyclists out there. And so way up ahead on Highway 90, you see this woman, and you think it's a woman because of the hair. Hair is flowing in the back. She's got this orange shirt flapping in the back. And you kind of noticed it because it's like, boy, she ain't got no jacket. She's just riding without a helmet. She ain't got no protection whatsoever. And then as we got closer and closer, we realized that it wasn't a shirt, but it was her skin. And she was so fat and flabby, it was flopping in the wind. And that is that's what you can expect for your average motorcycle female rider. And it was gross as hell. It was very gross.
I have no words.
Neither do we.
He just painted one hell of a fucking picture, but all I can say is,
my fucking head now.
I've seen that same woman. I've seen that same woman. I know the woman he's talking about, and I want to bleach my eyes out again for the second time now. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for the memories.
You gotta watch a cat video.
There was this communal, you could tell everybody's eyesight was pretty on par with each other, because as we drove up in the car, there's like 4 of us in there. We're trying like, and all of us like, ew, like in this choir. It's just like, yeah, it was nasty. And
Jesus.
So there's a girl out there for you, TJ.
She's currently around the Black Hills as we speak.
Something's curling. On that note, I think we should probably wrap it up. It's getting close to 11 o'clock. And another
time.
Oh yeah, that's right. What's the time difference for you guys? What do you got going over
here? It's 7:40 right now.
8:40 here.
Okay.
I got to figure out something to do.
Well, there is another pajama party going on, so
God,
you could just get ready for that. God damn.
It sucks, man. I know you. I don't want to go to the casinos. I don't want to go drink. I was kind of like,
no. Is this your place out there, right?
Nope. A buddy of mine bought this place, and the agreement is as long as I keep it in condition during winter, do some maintenance and all that, I get to stay here for free. So it's a good deal.
Keep it in pristine order.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So it's It is. Yeah. And I think this is going to be the first year I've never experienced below 0 temperatures.
Nice.
Because I've been coming to the Southwest for about the past 5 years. Either staying with friends and couch surfing or whatever. But I've always been nicked. Minnesota always nicked me where there'd be at least one day where it was below 0. And I think this is the first year I won't suffer a below 0 day because the winter was unseasonably warm for Minnesota. And I'm not going to be heading back till March.
Okay.
So there may be that opportune, idealistic year where there's no below 0 temperatures. And I mean, TJ, does it even get below 0 up there at that altitude, or
it's supposed to? It's been a very mild winter.
Okay.
So it's like right now it's in the 40s. It's still cold, but it's not enough to snow.
Right. No, it's I don't know if people really understand what below 0 feels like. And it's just this biting cold, like death is chomping at you, because like if you don't get indoors, you will die. And so, especially as you guys get older,
definitely makes your nose hairs crack. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, for anybody who's older, you don't want to be in the northern. I had a kid ask me like, "Oh, should I move to Montana?" I'm like, "No."
Fuck no, there's nothing in Montana.
Like, yeah, well, no, Montana's beautiful in July, but
July.
It's snow. It's
wind,
it's miserable.
If you're a Russian on a submarine trying to defect to the United States, Montana's
with a fat wife,
with a recreational motor vehicle.
Yeah, recreational motor vehicle.
Sorry, we had to put in the geek moment.
Absolutely, you don't have to apologize. All right, gentlemen.
Well, I will say that for my first time being on, and was great fun. It was awesome talking to you guys.
You need to come back because we're just barely getting to know you. Next time, it's really going to be open season on you.
Yeah. Next every Wednesday. And what do you guys think about keeping it at 9 o'clock? Is that good for you guys?
Works Whenever. For me.
All right,
you guys got jobs. You have to do things. Whatever
we do.
Fuck you want.
Well, we got. God damn it!
Look, just because you guys are somebody else's bitch doesn't mean I have to adhere to his schedule.
Yeah, saying that to the guy who works from home.
Yes,
hey,
he's just a lonely man. He's got to be bitter for something.
In his pajamas, no doubt.
I am. I haven't even got up. I slept until 11. I played video games. And then I said, fuck it, I'm going back to sleep. I hiked 40 miles in 2 days. And then now you guys.
Speaking of video games, I got a cool gift for Christmas that we'll have to talk about next week. My brother bought me this cheap Chinese ripoff of the NES, like new updated one that has 800 video games on it.
Yeah, 800 video games,
and half of them are the exact same games.
So you have 400 games.
I'd say maybe 200 at best. But we'll talk about it next week. But I wanted to throw that in as a teaser.
Cool. All right, so we'll talk video games. Maybe we'll talk some masculine geek finance or fitness. We'll throw that. We'll give some actionable advice.
You want me to go and like find another meetup group to
reconnoiter?
Reconnoiter, walk in and walk out and say, what the fuck is this?
Why don't you walk in with pajamas?
Hey, there you go.
No, I have a respect for my fellow citizens.
You walk in with pajamas and a pair of tuxedo shoes.
No, I'm not a millennial.
I'm not a millennial. Is that what they're wearing these days?
No, who gives a shit? No one pays it. You know what's sad is these millennials, like everything was about them because they're so mockable. And now it's now that they're all in their 30s, No one gives a shit about them anymore. Corporate, I mean, no one gives a shit about them anymore. So now it's all Gen Z. So everything's switching over. And so now the millennials who are already at the end of all jokes, now no one's even paying attention to them anymore. So if they weren't pathetic to begin with, they're even more pathetic now. And so it's kind of
wait till they get into politics, though.
So well,
they already have.
You know what? I'm glad TJ brought that up because I want kind of your prediction, Cappy. Considering a lot of these guys, I mean, I'm sure there's some that are lifelong socialists and whatnot, that they were born in the left and they'll probably die in the left. But I know, like myself, when I was young, I was a dumbass and I was stupid and I was pretty liberal back in the day. But, I woke up and wised up and became conservative and whatnot, a lot more right-leaning when it comes to my political stand. Do you think there's hope for the millennials now that, they're becoming actual fucking adults? Do you think you'll see a lot of them?
It's a topic for another podcast and another day. Yeah. But the short answer is no. As much as I like to pick on TJ, as much as I like to pick on Vince and his gay occult that he's going to have in his commune up in Maine, I love picking on millennials even more. They are my court jester. They are the morons that will make me entertained with their stupidity. But that's another.
That's after you get up at 11 o'clock and you've played video games.
That's after I get up at 11 o'clock. You know what's great? You know what's great about the millennials?
What's great about the millennials?
I'll tell you there, Rob. You know what's great about the millennials?
You're a good sidekick.
They're
oh, Jesus.
Those dumbass motherfuckers are paying for my social security, so fuck them. They're great. God. Fucking great.
Ha got the last laugh on them. Joke's on you, motherfuckers.
Joke's on you. Yeah, vote for socialism, you dumbass fucking
God. Fuck.
Oh shit!
I'm glad we didn't go political on this. Otherwise,
I know, right?
Well,
every once in a while, you get 10 minutes of political.
Don't hold the podcast responsible for my personal political views. Don't hold the Masculine Geek like that. The Masculine Geek is apolitical. We welcome all people of various stripes, and if you think that you should suck off of other people's blood as the socialist, communist, Democrat that you are, and a feminist, by God, you actually have the right as long as you roll dice.
Exactly.
There you go.
Right. That is correct. That is correct. Or on that note, gentlemen, do you want to go ahead and plug your stuff real fast? Aaron, go ahead.
You can find me, I know this may shock people, at a website called, at assholeconsulting.com.
No.
Oh, I know. Where millennials finally get their shit together. And then I also have another website called captaincapitalism.blogspot.com. And I have other podcasts and blogs and things like that. But just go to any one of those sites, you'll find links to all the other Twitter, YouTube, and all that other stuff.
Absolutely. And I'll have them in the show notes as well. And Jared, you're new, but you do some voice work. So do you want to plug yourself there?
Yeah, I mean, I have some more stuff coming soon, but you can find me on YouTube, J Trent Johnson, J Sounds. You can find me on there. I'll plug a link eventually if next time I come back. But
absolutely,
I have that prepped for you guys. But yeah, I'll have a lot of like voiceover stuff, just things that I'm doing. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Cool, Rob.
Yeah, you can find me. I finally got with the program, being the old man in the group, I finally figured out the interwebs. Exactly. You can actually find me at robsays.net.
Okay. TJ?
Says like S-E-Z?
No, like as in Simon Says, it's S-A-Y-S. robsays.net.
All right. You can go to my website, tjmartinell.com, to pick up my books or listen to my podcast. You can also find that on soundcloud.com/tjmartinell.
Excellent. And I'm Vincent LaRosa. You can find me at vincentlarosa.com and also on Amazon. And that will be it for this week's Masculine Geek Podcast number 2. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And for all future listeners and watchers, thank you very much. We'll catch you next time. And guys, you can stay on if you wish.
All right.